Everybody. I know you're connected from every part of the world, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Camila De Paz. I'm the Assistant Dean of Global Network Programs at Yale School of Management. Part of my portfolio is overseeing admissions for 2-degree programs, the MAM, which is the program we're going to be talking about today, and the GBS. These 2-degree programs are second graduate degrees. And so the MAM is a post-MBA degree. You have to have an MBA in order to apply to the MAM. And I'm here today with 3 of our alumni from the MAM program. I'm so excited to reconnect with the 3 of them. We're gonna have a conversation. So I'm gonna be asking a few questions to them. And I will also be asking some of the questions that you have pre-submitted when you register for this webinar, but feel free to put additional questions on the Q&A section of Zoom. I will also be scrolling through them and asking them live. And thank you to Elena Heath. You don't see her. She is behind the whole webinar, and she will be also putting our brochure on the chat and also some future events that we will be having. So thank you everybody for being here today. Without further ado, I'm gonna be letting our guests today introduce themselves. So I'm gonna ask them to say their names, what were they doing before their time at SOM, what school they studied their MBA at, what are they doing now, where are they based, and 1 or 2 things that were favorite things at SOM beyond the classes. So, you know, what activities you engaged in or what things were your favorite spots at Yale, 1 or 2 things that you would like to highlight from your year with us. So Sweta, I'm gonna start with you.
So thank you, Dean Camino. So my name is Shweta Ramanathan. So I'm originally from Chennai, India. So I did my MBA from Symbiosis International University, India. And currently I'm working as a senior vendor manager at Amazon Seattle. So yeah, I graduated from MAM program in the batch of 2024. And MAM has been one of the best experiences for me. And I would consider it as a life-changing experience. And so the best thing about SOM and in general about Yale itself is about the community, and I would it's a great community, and I would cherish it for life. And with respect to Yale SOM groups, I was part of the student government, and I was also part of the Graduate Professional Student Senate, which is overall liaison between all the Yale universities handling student issues and making sure things are addressed with respects to all the student concerns. And yeah, looking forward to connecting with you all. Yeah.
Thank you. Elisa.
Of course, thanks, Camino. Yeah, I'm Elisa. I'm from Germany, from a small town near Berlin. My school for the MBA was the Hong Kong School of Science and Technology in Hong Kong, which had a specific Asia focus. So I was very excited to do the MAM in the US. My position before the MAM was that I was working as a strategy consultant at BCG. And now I returned to BCG in Germany as a consultant, and I'm very happy to be back. Yeah, my favorite experience as well, I can only agree with Sweta, was the community at Yale. However, I also enjoyed the many classes that I could take, as well as the groups. For example, I was in the first gen and low income group that I participated in, and we also organized, for example, a healthcare competition, which was great to see the other MBA schools coming to Yale and compete there. Yeah, so far.
Thank you, Elisa. And last but not least, Mauricio.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mauricio. I'm from Chile. I did my MBA in PUC, Chile. I actually, my story is a little bit different because I'm not coming from the corporate. I am a startup founder since I finished high school, actually. So I created my company, then I sold a second company that was in the climate tech space, and then I started to work in the VC space. in climate tech specifically. So I went to the MAM program with the idea to keep working in BC. But at the end of the day, I found a great opportunity with some classmates that actually they weren't from MAM, they were from GBS. So we founded another company while we were studying at MAM. So I used many of the resources that the school and also the university gives to the students. So I can share with you some tips there. But yeah, now I'm still working in that company. I have other activities as well. I'm still working in the VC as a venture partner, and I'm managing my previous company as well. So pretty busy, based between Chile and Europe.
Thank you so much. So I'd like to ask the three of you, why did you decided to pursue the MAM? This is a program that is not for everybody. I mean, after an MBA, people can very much, go back to workforce and not needing this additional degree. So I'm very curious to find out from the three of you, what was in the MAM that made you think, oh, this is something that would definitely complement my MBA and will help me in my future career. So what was that for each of you? Mauricio, I'm now going to start with you.
Yeah, in my case, as I mentioned before, I'm coming from a very different background. So when I never really decided to do the MBA. I just did it because I went to a competition, like a startup competition, and the prize was a scholarship for the MBA. And they said, "Hey, you have this scholarship." And I said, "Why should I do an MBA if I am a startup founder?" And say, no, you can do it. It's free. Okay. But then when I started to talk with the directors at the MBA in PUC, Chile, that is a very great program. They say, hey, but you have this opportunity. You can go to Yale School of Management for a 1-year program afterwards. I say, oh, okay, that sounds good. I'd like to have the experience to study in the US and also to have the opportunity to build something from the US, a startup from the US. I said, okay, that sounds pretty exciting. And actually, I pursue my MBA because of the MAM. So it was always part of the plan. And that's how I decided to go to the MAM.
Thank you. Alyssa, what about you?
So for me, it was a bit different. It was not part of my plan. So the program in Hong Kong was only 12 months. But I felt in the course of the program that I really like to connect with different people from different industries. And I thought it was like so enriching to learn more about also Asia, like different geographics, different countries coming from Europe. So I was decided on either doing a semester abroad as an exchange, or do something different. And then I heard about the MAM program, which I thought was very fitting to just gain more experience in the US and also broaden the network and see whether recruiting could be interesting also in the US. So yeah, I thought the MAM is a great opportunity, especially after a 12 months program. And also I thought it was very appealing that the MAM offers you the opportunity to take so many elective courses. And there's a great variety of those elective courses because you can also take them at different schools, as I guess Shweta and Mauricio also did. So that was kind of the deciding factor.
Perfect. Thank you. Sweta, what about you?
So for me, I graduated from my MBA a couple of years earlier, so I was not a joint degree student. But the main reason why I chose MAM was it was not just an advanced degree for me. I kind of saw it as a pathway to greater learning and greater global exposure. And also, I wanted to do a degree in a university which was really impactful and also helped me guide towards future career and life goals. So that was one of the main reason why I considered MAM. And yeah, my MAM experience was around consulting. So I also felt around the strategy front and around the business front, MAM degree would help me even more getting a global exposure, and also with a diverse community in SOM and Yale, it did help me expand my horizon and go beyond the better. So that was the reason I chose MAM.
Thank you. Elisa mentioned the electives that are available in the MAM. So one unique thing about this program is that the students build their curriculum. Like nothing is fixed. There are only 2 required courses, and all the rest is basically up to you to figure it out. So, Elisa, because you brought it up, can you please speak to that? Like, how do you go about building your curriculum? How do you kind of did your research? What was your curriculum like? How did it build on the classes that you've taken in the MBA before? So can you talk a little bit about all that process and how, you know, your curriculum looked like? Probably very different from Mauricio's and Svetla's.
Yes, I guess. So I think building the curriculum already starts when you apply for the MAM, because you basically need to know why you do this program, because it's very short. So you need to know what are your goals, like what do you want to do after, and all those course plans are available, so you can look through these lists. So when you have this goal available for yourself, then for me, it was, for example, I wanted to take some entrepreneurship courses. I wanted to take sustainability courses, also around like impact investing, etc. So when you have that in your head, you can look through the courses. What I also did was ask alumni, because I mean, you're already only there for a year. So you basically have to ask alumni before, because you apply for the first courses already while you're not at Yale. So you need to really network, and everyone was very helpful and gave me tips. So yeah, I think that was a great opportunity. And then what I also did was look through the course list for example, the Yale College or the Yale Law School. And there you need to see what fits your workload and how you can manage it with the SOM courses. But I, for example, also audited a law school course about intellectual property, which I thought was really interesting. And I took a whole class at Yale College about biology, related topics, also related climate change, which I thought was super enriching. So yeah, but definitely have a plan before, and then ask a lot of people. Yeah, and get yourself familiar with it.
Thank you so much. So that we have a question about how employers perceive the MAM degree and what feedback do you get in the hiring process from managers? I'm asking you because Elisa, I think, went back to her previous employer, and Amaris is an entrepreneur. So you were the one that went through the recruitment process. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience? Also with the resources here at the school and, you know, recruiting with MBAs, give us a little bit of a picture of how that looked like for you.
Sure. Employers don't perceive MAM any different from MBA, but the only difference I would say is MBAs get to do an internship at the end of their first year, whereas MAM is technically directly the second year of MBA, so you don't get to do the first year internship. So I won't say that's a disadvantage, but that's how the program is designed. So MBAs, when they do their internships, they can get to convert it into full-time offer, whereas for MAMs, the process itself is like final full-time recruiting. So that's the only thing which is different between a regular MBA and an MAM program. But again, your post MAM role can be very much closely aligned to what you did pre-MAM, or it can also be something if you want to deep dive into. And I would say it's based on your ability to perform in the interview, and also based on networking and other factors. And one thing about US, since I'm an international student, and I mean, almost everybody in MAM is international. So one thing I found slightly different compared to my home country was the impact of networking, because in US, networking is really seen prominently. So that was slightly different to me. And that does count a lot in recruiting process, and also proceeding forward to the further rounds of interviews and conversion for the job process. And yeah, getting back to the question, MAM is generally not perceived any different than that of an MBA degree, but the only slight changes, the internship part or the full-time conversion part, is not part of this.
Something for those that want to pursue recruiting in the US, which again is difficult for international students. We're not gonna lie, like not everybody can succeed in this, but something that is extremely important is the summer prior to arriving to SOM, our career development office puts some programming for you, and it starts in, I believe, July. So Sweta was talking about networking. You have to start networking and working with our CDO. way before you arrive on campus. So literally in July, all the recruitment process for most industries in the US happen in the fall. So basically you come in and you hit the ground running with our second year MBAs who have been with us for another year before. So if recruitment is important to you, you have to start doing your work even before you arrive to SOM. If not, you're going to be late to the game and you're going to be playing catch up. So I just want to put it out there because I think this is extremely important. Mauricio, you mentioned that you leverage all the resources SOM and the university had for entrepreneurs. Can you talk, because we're seeing more and more entrepreneurs applying to the program, which is really exciting. But what is the environment for an entrepreneur? What is the ecosystem here for people that want to pursue entrepreneurship?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yale, as a university and the School of Management, it's very focused on social entrepreneurship and also climate entrepreneurship. That's something quite different from other schools, Ivy Leagues, or other universities. And I'd say that that's a key differentiator because sets you apart if you are in this space, if you want to develop your career around that space. And there are so many opportunities. For example, first of all, you have in Connecticut, there's a lot of funding coming from the state to fund climate tech companies. There's a fund that is a $50 million fund that just invests in companies in climate tech. Obviously, that spreads out. Then you have Sci-City, where I did the Climate Innovators program was in an in-semester program, very exciting. I also made the fellowship program, and they gave us like $15,000 or something to start developing our company. That's quite good. And also you have a wide variety of things. For example, I went to Stanford for a conference, and the school gave me some money back for this trip. I participated in the MEN Impact Fund in the climate tech area. That was the first year, so it was very. I had the opportunity to participate in the first year of the fund. That is alumni that donated money for the students to run a VC fund from themselves, and the students decide where the money goes. So it's quite amazing, and had the opportunity to work there with people from the law school, PhDs. So it was amazing. So there are so many opportunities. Actually, I won't have enough time to mention that, but I would be very happy to keep talking with you guys if you have more questions.
Sorry, I was muted. Elisa, we have a question about our faculty. So how is the faculty at SOM and at Yale in general, and not only in terms of like, quality but also are they approachable? How do you interact with your faculty? What is your assessment of your experience with faculty here?
So in general, it was a very great experience that I had at SOM and also in other schools. As I mentioned, I took it also at other schools. So maybe I start with that because I thought it was great that they welcome SOM students at the law school and also at Yale College. And also they ask you how much effort do you want to put into this course, right? I mean, you need to pass it obviously and learn the contents, but if you want to go beyond, they give you a lot of materials and give you a lot of support and help. And also like offer one-on-ones in office hours, etc., which I thought was great. And the same at SOM, right? If you really want to deep dive into a topic, for example, like entrepreneurship, and like, for example, as in Mauricio's case, there's always opportunity to go deeper into that. I took a course, entrepreneurship through acquisition, which was a very new topic for me, for example, and I took it out of interest because I never thought about acquiring a company and becoming an entrepreneur through that. And we have topic experts on that in Yale, and I thought it was really amazing that these people are so enthusiastic about their topic and love talking about it and love also motivating students to pursue these career ways. So I think very practical recommendations, very approachable, in every different regard. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We always get questions about alumni, Yale alumni, how approachable are they? Are they helpful at all with, again, admission process or when you're trying to get in and then during the program and with recruitment. So Sweta was talking about networking, how important it is in the US. We cannot stress it enough. So for those of you that come from other cultures, where networking is not so powerful, you have to make like a shift, because here networking is everything, and that includes obviously Yale alumni. So I'm not targeting this question to anybody specifically because I have no idea how much interaction you had or didn't have with alumni, but can one of the three of you speak about that, about the connection with alumni and how your communication with them or interaction with them was like?
I can chime in for this question. So also I mentioned networking in terms of recruitment, so maybe I can start with that. So of course, as I mentioned in my first statement, Yale SOM and Yale community in general is very, very collaborative and very helpful. And that is really a that was a very helpful factor in my recruiting journey as well. And again, since being an MAM, I was recruiting for full-time roles. So due to which, again, to know about a company or about the role specifications, just by looking at the job ad or the job offer, you really don't understand what it is about. So in that sense, you can either look through networking platforms like LinkedIn for Yale SOM or Yale alumni in general, or you also have great resources, which is given by CDO, where you can get the list of all the past SOM alumni, what is their current position, what are they working, and you can also make the best use of it. So that did help me, because in my initial stages of recruiting, I did reach to a couple of my alumni, specifically MAM alumni, and they were very responsive, very helpful, and they didn't even hesitate. So that was something I really appreciate. I know they also have a very difficult and hectic schedule amidst their job, but they still offer to take a call or even respond through mail for the queries that I had specifically with related to job or what is the expectation. And not specific to a MAM alumni, there were also other SOM and Yale alumni to whom, even if I reached out for a job referral or any of the advice or suggestions of my career or my future expectations aligning with the current role, they were very much welcoming to do that. So that is something I'd really stress and point out with respect to the networking and alumni impact amongst the SOM and Yale community. Yeah.
Thank you so much. From India, from Hong Kong, and from Chile to New Haven, Connecticut. So can you explain how that process was like, moving into Connecticut, moving into New Haven, which is a small city, and like accommodation? Like Mauricio came with a baby and a wife. So how is that process of moving into New Haven, finding lodging, and then integrating into the community of New Haven? I'm sure that people are wondering, like, okay, does anybody help me with this, and how that worked out for you? So anyone in particular that would like to talk about this, moving to New Haven?
Yeah, in my case was very particular because my wife was pregnant when we arrived to New Haven. She was 36 weeks pregnancy. So my son was born in the Yale hospital. So it was super like really a life-changing experience. Actually, he's American and he's not even Chilean yet. We haven't done the papers, so he's a foreign here in Chile. And yeah, New Haven is a great place to live. It's very chill, super secure. Besides, some people say that the main square is not so secure, and but at the end of the day, New Haven is super secure, especially compared with South America. We were living on heaven in there. The place is very nice. Obviously, it's a place where almost everyone is studying in the Yale University. So it's a university town. But something that is super interesting is that it's very close to New York and very close to Boston. So I used to go to Boston and New York very often. Actually, with my startup, we participated in an accelerator program in New York called Antler, and I traveled to New York like 3 days a week, and you can take a train and go there very cheap. So it's a great place actually to live. I decided to live in a place in New Haven called Corsair, that's a very nice place for families. I may say that is like kind of a perfect spot if you want to have a great place to live close to the Yale School of Management, but obviously there are other accommodations available. And yeah, I don't know what else to say, but it's a great place. We always remember New Haven with some sort of melancholy, wanting to come back. And the time went by so quickly, we didn't have the time to really enjoy the time there.
Maybe I can also add to that. So I lived in student dorm, which I thought was also a very interesting experience. Shweta also lived in the same dorm. So what I really appreciated about New Haven was the proximity of all my classmates. So I think because it's such a small town, and everyone lives kind of around SOM, it's great to just connect for the evenings, just go for a quick coffee. So I think that's really making the charm and the spirit about Yale. And then also the university itself and the facilities are great. So I wasn't only studying at SOM, but also like using the different libraries. For example, Sterling Memorial Library is very beautiful and it's a great atmosphere. So yeah, I actually really miss that, thinking back to it. So I think Yale is a great place, and also definitely the proximity to New York is exceptional. So it makes the weekends very fun.
Small comment about the dorms. If you would like to have the opportunity to stay at the dorms, you should apply in the earlier rounds. If you apply round 3, probably the dorms are all taken. So just small comment about that. Yeah, encouraging people to apply round 1 and round 2 if you want to have that accommodation. For all the rest, we're going to have spots. We're going to have everything, scholarship money, everything in all 3 rounds. So the accommodation is the only one that might be a little bit tricky. Also, visas. So if you come from a country where getting visas to the US is a little bit challenging, applying earlier will help you because it will give you more time for that. So that we pride ourselves about one SOM. And so because you build your own curriculum, you're not going to be in class just with MAM students. So you're going to be in class with MBAs, with GBS. If you take classes outside of SOM, as Lisa was mentioning, you will have classes with law students, undergraduates. So how is the Yale community beyond the MAM cohort? Like how much time you spend with your MAM peers, other students? How was that experience of the one SOM beyond the MAM program per se?
Okay, I can take the question. So yeah, as Elisa and Mauricio mentioned, I mean, we all get the opportunity to share classroom with students all across various schools. So I took a class called Game Theory, which I was taking with the undergrad eco students and also with the engineering school. So that was a very different experience because I mean, you have, I mean, in the same class, you have master students and also you have PhDs and also undergrads all taking the same class. That also gives you different perspective and a new type of experience. So that was something which was really good. And also there was other course which was related to designing and art. So though that course was related to SOM, but most of the students for that course were from the School of Architecture and Design. So, and that was a very different experience because I never got the opportunity in my life before to work with designers and artists. So, and that was really different. And we got to work in group projects, and we had to come up with a business plan for setting up a art brand. And of course, everybody with different expertise, like students from SOM, of course, came up with the business plan of how we'd be growing, and students from School of Architecture and Design, they came up with the plan of what products and what's the market for it, how it would be going. And this collaborative experience was really helpful because, of course, everybody wouldn't have the perspective of getting to know every industry, but taking such classes does help to know beyond what you've been doing so far. And that is something I'd really like to highlight at this point.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you, Sweta, for that. We're talking a lot about classes and curriculum and professors, but I also want to talk a little bit about clubs, extracurriculars, conferences. So for any three of you, I'm not targeting anybody, but what is your experience with the extracurricular activities? What happens outside of the classroom, which we think it's as important as what happens in the classroom? And Mauricio was saying how quick time goes by. So what activities you chose beyond classes and how, they complemented your experience at SOM?
Yeah, I just want to say that there are so many activities. Like you cannot do everything. It's like sometimes you have to go to a classroom and at the same time there's another one, and you stay one part of the talk in one part. Yeah, and you have to move, and there's food everywhere. And there's actually in the Slack there's a channel where that's called free food, and you move from one place to another to grab some pizzas, and it's very fun. You have drinks everywhere every day, Monday to Sunday. You can really feel like you can spend all your time doing extracurricular activities if you want. You can spend all your time there. Obviously,
Not advisable. You need to pass. You need to graduate. So not advisable to take all your time in extracurriculars. But yes,
yeah. You have to put the hours for the courses. Obviously, I would say that you have to spend at least 50 or 60 hours to study, but you can spend the rest of your time doing other stuff. But there are so many things, so you have to decide what you want to do, and that's the most important part. So in my case, I did everything related with AI, entrepreneurship, climate tech, but obviously, I guess that Elisa and Shota had a different experience.
Thank you, Mauricio. I'd like to now move a little bit into the admission process. So people are probably wondering, okay, so these three people got into the program. What was unique about them? Why they got in and others didn't? So I would like to ask this question to the three of you. So what do you think people should think about when approaching the admission process to be successful? And what do you think are the key things that have made you successful in the admission process? So Elisa, let's start with you.
Okay, so I think the first thing is really about being clear why you want to do the MAM, and have that vision, what you want to bring to the program and also what you want out of the program, so that you are motivated when you arrive there, because time is short. So just like what I thought was really amazing with my classmates was that they were driven and they wanted to, create a shared experience and wanted to make classes great with discussions and conversations, share their experiences, and also have those, events, for example, like lunch events or like evening events where you get to know each other, network, and also support each other, and create a supportive atmosphere. So I think if you can bring that across in your application, that's a big plus. And then also be authentic, be yourself. I think that's the most important part. This diversity that you can also see here, people from different countries with very different experiences, is super enriching. And I think this is what makes the MAM cohort each year very unique, and also standing out from the MBAs.
Thank you. Sweta, what do you think made you successful in the admission process?
So many points which Elisa stated were the main reason. So one, I mean, I remember I was just telling Dean Camino some time ago, 2 years ago, I was a member of the same panel in the month of October, and I'm so happy to be part of here as a panelist today. But again, I remember the words which Dean Camino told then. It was about knowing a clear reason why you want to take this course, because there are so many courses, but why specifically MAM? And again, this is a niche course. It's a 9-month course, which is divided into 4 quarters, and it's pretty demanding. So you need to be really clear of what you want to do. And again, Yale is a great brand, and studying at Yale SOM is a big thing. But the purpose why you want to enroll in this course should be beyond that. So, what do you want to really make an impact in any specific field, and you can leverage this program as a reason, as a part of that, and to make it to the place where you want to be impactful. So as Elisa mentioned, the purpose of why you're applying should be really important, and what you want to do with this course and what you want to do after this course is something you really need to be specific about. And that also technically reflects in the essays and stuff, because one special thing about MAM essay is like you have like a couple of questions, which is also very clear in understanding what is the need, like why MAM? There are other programs. There's also regular MBA, but why MAM? So those things were that really drives the main reason for the purpose and authenticity. And yeah.
Thank you.
I just
Mauri-
wanted to complement. Yeah, so I've helped some students that are in the program now and in the past, and I'd say that there are many, and probably many of the people that is listening this podcast or this webinar have some imposter syndrome, that they say, oh, maybe I'm not good enough. And that usually comes with the idea that you have to have a great GMAT to apply to these Ivy League schools. And I just want, and I know that Camino, you will say that because you always say that, but the GMAT is not the most important part. And you have to be, that's real. It's real. So I know guys that have 620 um, all the way to 770. And so you have all the wide range of GMATs, but the most important part that they will say, that Elisa mentioned that and showed as well, is the uniqueness that you are bringing to the cohort. So I would say that you have to embrace your uniqueness. Like, not, you don't have to try to fit to the expectations that you think that these kind of Ivy League schools have. Like, obviously you have the MBB and all that stuff, but you have to show why are you unique and what do you want to bring to the table to this cohort, and embrace it in your essays.
They have said it all. Yes, you're right. We want to find authentic people. Don't try to tell us what you think we want to hear. We're very savvy. We do this for living, so we can read through that very quickly. We have a mission. We educate leaders for business and society, which is extremely important to us. So please make sure that you embrace the society piece. Like, how do you plan to make an impact? Will you help us advancing our mission? That's extremely important. And people think that this process is only one way, you trying to impress us, but it's actually 2 ways. I am also assessing whether we are going to be able to deliver what you're trying to achieve with this program. So we want to impress you as much as you want to impress us, and we need to find a way that that we think that the program is meant for you, that you are going to be able to achieve what you want with this program. So yeah, thank you for your honest opinions, because I think they're extremely important. Something that comes up all the time, and I want to spend time explaining it. And I don't know if any of you have done the STEM major, but there is a possibility of declaring the STEM major in your application. And this has recently been updated, and it always brings up questions. I want to put it out there. If you want to pursue the STEM major, you have to declare in the applications. Once we issue your visa, your I-20, there's no changing of mind. You can't change your mind. The STEM major requires you to take a certain number of courses on STEM, and your degree will be the MAM, so nothing will show up on your degree. And the only reason to pursue the STEM major is for OPT purposes, optional practical training. So for anybody graduating from a school in the US, you have the possibility of staying for 1 additional year under what it's called OPT, optional practical training. There is a caveat: you need a job. You need a job offer in the US, and that is not guaranteed. We don't know if that's going to happen, and you don't know that either. So nobody should be applying to this program just with the expectation to then work in the US, because that might happen. Sweta is an example, but that could also not happen. If you pursue the STEM major, after that first year of optional practical training, you can apply for an extension for up to 2 years. Apply means that it has to be approved, it can be denied, and the job that you are pursuing in the US has to be STEM related. Has to be science, technology, engineering, mathematics. It can be any job, it has to be STEM. Anyway, with this preface, I would like to ask our panelists whether any of you have pursued the STEM major, and if the answer is no, I'm sure you have colleagues who have done it, and what is like the experience there versus not pursuing the major, and I mean, what are your insights on this? Oh, before I turn it over to our panelists, I also want to say that you can not pursue the STEM major and still take as many STEM classes as you want. So the STEM major is only for the OPT potential route, but nothing prevents you from taking all the classes you want in STEM, even though you don't declare the major. Sorry, I'm talking a lot, but I just want to clarify all this because there's so many questions, and then I just want to make sure that everybody has it clear. Any experience, any of you took the STEM major?
I took, yeah.
You did? Okay, can you tell us a little bit about your experience with the STEM major versus not taking that major?
Sure. So one thing with STEM major I kind of felt was like the overall credits we need to take for the MAM course is 40. But if you're planning to take a STEM major, you'd have to at least take 16 credits in STEM itself, STEM courses, to be able to be qualifying for the STEM conversion in the future. So that's literally almost equivalent to 50%. So that was one thing which is kind of hold, I would say. Of course, for a person who's very passionate about technology or like wanting to do a career in technology. So for them, of course, I know I had a couple of classmates who did take a lot of coding related courses with School of Computer Science and also with engineering, and they were pretty happy about it. But for me, I would say I'm not though I work for a tech company right now, my role is not very much tech oriented. So I'm mostly with the business front. So for me, I personally felt STEM was kind of a slightly heavier role because I wish I could have taken more courses which were related to organizational behavior or something related to entrepreneurship, or even when other schools where I could have got in like School of Environment or probably law, where I could have gotten different perspectives. And also one thing with STEM courses is that they're slightly demanding because the courses I meant like game theory, it's a 4-credit course, and it spanned all across fall. So, and also every week you'd have to take in 2 classes, and also you'd have to make sure you balance out. And also that course happened in a different school, and also you have to make sure you go to that school, and if you have a class right immediate after it, you have to come back to SOM. So those things were there. And also because it's 16 credits, you'd have to also make sure you take the right choices of courses such that it doesn't overburden you with the other genuine courses which you want to take. And also, like as for with every course, you'd have to take a given assignments and submissions and other part as part of evaluation. So STEM, it's a very good thing which gives you additional 2 years to stay and work in the US and help you with the visa processes. But on the course front, I would say it's a slightly heavier hold. But again, for people who are very passionate about engineering, maths, or science or tech, I think it's a good pathway, and you have great electives in STEM at both Yale and SOM.
Thank you. We have a great question on the chat. It says, what do you wish you knew before joining the MAM program? So maybe each of you can answer this question. Alyssa, what do you wish to know?
That's so short. It seems so long, but like actually it's so short, also with breaks and everything. I think also a great recommendation is because you have the fall breaks, you have the spring breaks. And for example, also Thanksgiving and a long winter break is also think about what you want to do in your breaks. Do you want to use it as like in a global network week? Do you want to travel with your classmates? Do you want to, do some, trips abroad? I don't know, to experience the world, go hiking, etc. There's so many options. So I definitely recommend everyone to think also ahead on like about like the spring semester and not only like from week to week or like from like one semester point of view. So I think that's very important and would have helped me a bit. Yeah.
Mauricio, what would you like you had known?
Yeah, I totally agree with Elisa. It's not something that I didn't knew. Everybody said that it's super short. You have to do a good plan and take advantage of all the things that you have. And I made it, but still I feel like Elisa, that it was super short. I want to come back. So I don't know if there's a post MAM program that you are planning. I would definitely enroll in that. Uh, yeah, and also what I'd say is something that Elisa mentioned before, that you should definitely uh, talk with alumni and understand what do you want to do in terms of your classes while you are in SOM. So you have to study the curriculum, you have to study the courses, because you don't have so much time to decide which courses you want to take. And there are so many different options. It's so you don't want to be in the position to decide like in while you are there. You should define it previously.
Super important. That is extremely important. Yes. So what would you like you had known?
I don't want to sound like a pessimist or a snob, but one thing it was slightly challenge was maybe the market situations, because again, market is unpredictable and many of the things is not in your control. But again, I wouldn't say if I'd known the market or the situation before, I wouldn't have applied to the course. I would definitely not tell that, because Yale is more than a experience, and I really cherish this for life. But for some of my classmates who were really looking forward to get a job in the US, and the market situation was not very favorable for them, and people with great careers back in their home country had to really have a tough time finding a good job. And again, it's not about you, it's not that you're bad or whatever, it is in general. With the market was not very favorable, so that was something I wish I had. I mean, I would still say I was fortunate. I was able to find something that was really aligning with my career goals, and I'm happy with it. But it was not a happy ending story for everybody. So I wish I knew that a little earlier. But yeah, but still, I would have still taken MAM, because it was more than a job in the US. It was about the experience of studying at Yale and improving the impactful part of my life. But that is something I wish I knew before. Yeah.
Something super important related to that is, as you navigate the recruitment process post MAM, you have to have plan A, B, and C in place, and not just pivot to plan B once plan A doesn't work. You have to have the 3 balls in the air and be able to handle the 3 options. Because yeah, plan A might not work out, and then you have to quickly shift to B or C. And so while we understand that a lot of people would like to stay in the US, it's not simple. And please don't believe that because you're going to have the Yale brand in your resume, all the doors are going to wide open for you. It's not as simple as that. So yeah, thank you for that honesty with that. And everybody should keep, options open. Also, it might take a little bit longer of time when you're recruiting internationally, right? So that also everybody wants to have like a job right, before they graduate, and I understand that, but give yourself a little also time and enjoy the program as well. If you stress so much about the recruitment, you might miss out in some of the opportunities here. So that would be also part of my advice. We have a question here. I know the answer, but I wonder what our panelists think about this. So can we take more courses, credits, than those required for graduation? The answer is yes. I don't know if anybody like literally survives this, but I know you can take more, but have you taken more classes that the one or credits that the ones require or not? Or I'm sure you know of somebody who has done it, but did they survive?
What I did was I audited classes. So I would recommend that over taking more credits because it's less commitment. And then you can also always shift with assignments because there will be a lot of assignments that have a deadline. So yeah, that's my recommendation. I know that some people took more credits, especially in the beginning, but then also faded out to take the normal class load. Yeah, so definitely be ensured that the classes are not super easy. So be very mindful with overloading.
Following up on what you're saying, Alyssa, we get this question all the time. People think that the difficult part is getting in, but actually performing well in the program is also challenging. So how you felt the course load or difficulty of the classes you took compared to your MBA school? I mean, one thing that I think is positive is here you choose the classes, so at least you're doing what you want to do and not what you're told to do. But how in terms of difficulty, will you compare or kind of workload you compare the classes here versus your year one schools? Similar, more rigorous, less rigorous?
I can take that one if Elisa. Yeah, I would say that in my case it was way more rigorous. Yeah, especially because of the assignments that are not easy, and especially in the STEM courses. I wanted to pursue the STEM program at the beginning, so I made like 14 out of the 16, but then I decided to take another courses, so I ended up without the STEM designation. And I'd say that I spent, for example, for some course with coding, there are many courses that you have to code. So I have, I studied computer science in college, so I had the experience. But I don't know, you have to code in Python every weekend for an assignment. So I use all my Saturdays coding. So yeah, you have to put the hours. It's not easy. It's not something that you will have like you have to attend and you will have great grades. No, it's not like that. Especially if you are pursuing the STEM designation. But at the same time, I couldn't say that I don't know if someone failed. Like I don't know any case because there everyone is very smart. Everyone have the time and everyone is like committed with the process, so nobody failed. But it's like but at the same time you see people studying in the libraries all day long. You can stay 44/7. I have a friend who stayed at SOM for 10 days in a room. He got banned after that, but he lived there. He slept there, and yeah, and you can do some this crazy stuff. But yeah, it's
Wow. I didn't know that.
yeah, from the asset management.
Okay. So yeah, you were lucky. Nobody was dismissed in your year, but we have had people dismissed from the program. So don't underestimate the work that you have to put in. This is not a year of vacation in the US. It's hard work. We look very carefully in the admission process that the people are capable of succeeding. So yes, everybody that we bring in, we believe are able to succeed, but not without any work. You have to work hard to earn the degree. That is for sure.
Yeah, and I just want to add that in the MAM program, you have to take in average 5 classes per quarter, and in the MBA, you have to take 4. So you are already taking more courses than your classmates in the MBA.
Because you already have an MBA. and that's a joke. I'm just saying you already have that degree, so we push you a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Okay, we are 6 minutes away, so I really would, we can take more questions, but I really would like for each of you to give a piece of advice to people that are considering the program. Like, what would be your really piece of advice to people that might be considering the program? Something that, yeah, that you want to make sure that they think or they know they consider before applying and embarking in this journey, which is the MAM. Elisa.
Yeah, so picking up what I said before, definitely plan a lot, plan beforehand, know what you want to do, check the courses, check the programs, check extracurriculars, and go with that into the program. Second thing for me would be, familiarize yourself with meeting a lot of new people. Think about what kind of people you want to meet, because there are I think 1,000 people at SOM, so it's
Yes.
so many. So you definitely have to network from the get-go, and also keep those relationships, because this is going to be the most important part of your program, keeping in touch with classmates. So it's a lot of socializing. Yeah, and just have that open mindset, maybe say yes to a lot of more socializing things that you would usually do, and try new experiences and be very open to all the new experience that you can make.
Thank you. Sweta, what would be your piece of advice?
So I would say don't see this program just as a gateway to get a job in the US. This program is way beyond, because at the first statement I told, it was a life-changing opportunity for me, because I met some of the best peoples I could meet in my life. That also includes Dean Camino, and many of my classmates. They really inspired me in so many ways, and I would always cherish those memories for life. So don't see this as a gateway to get a job in the US. Like, Yale is a big brand, SOM is a big brand, but it's not just for your own resume or for your life's career path. It's more for your own personal goals and your own personal impact, what you want to create with life as well. So see this program as something that helps you get your personal satisfaction and your personal goals. And this program can definitely take you a long way if your focus is mainly on the purpose and what you want to do with your life. Yeah.
Thank you. Mauricio.
I would say three things. First, that you will never regret to have Yale diploma in your resume or in your life. You'll never regret that. It's something that you will carry for you and for your family forever. And that's something that you have to take the weight. Like Elisa mentioned that you have some first university students. I don't know exactly the name that you mentioned, Elisa, but in my case, my parents went to the university, but I am the first one from the family going to an Ivy League. So that carry a lot of weight for your family. Second, as Shweta mentioned, you don't have to take this as a visa opportunity to stay in the US. That's a very bad mindset for this. Also, you don't have to think about this as a return over investment, like calculating how much does the program cost and how much are you going to earn afterwards. That's a very bad mindset. It's something more related with your life experience and all the doors that will open after you made the program. And you don't really know. But in my case, for example, I received a call from an HR person and offered me a job in the US. And he said, no, sorry, I don't want to stay in the US. I decided to come back to my country. So life is super unpredictable, but you will definitely don't regret to have the degree. And lastly, I'd say that you have to apply. So if you are hesitant about applying or not, you have to be confident that you are a unique person, that you can bring something interesting to the table. And yeah, don't be afraid to apply. Don't put excuses like the GMAT score, that you don't have a perfect score in college. You have to apply and show who you are. And definitely, if you are the right person for the program and the program has a fit with your life experience and also with your dreams, definitely you will be selected in the program. So yeah, apply.
Thank you so much. We're 1 minute away, but we have a last minute question. So if one of you can answer this very, very quickly. So the question is, as students, do you have the opportunity to start something within the school, like a research group in finance, politics? Have you have the opportunity, the resources, the support to start new things within the school?
I can quickly take this. So there is a ETA group, like as Lisa mentioned, so search funds. So, and also we do have a similar entrepreneurship cell, like Y Combinator. They do help and guide a lot of new startups and new lot of business ideas, and they also support mentors. So many of these resources are possible, and even there's also a business and politics club. And also I mentioned I was part of the student senate, and I did get to experience a lot of real issues which students were facing, and I also got to go to Washington DC once to represent all the Ivy League students association and have a discussion with the senators in one of their offices. So that was also one of a very nice experience, I would say. So you have the resources everywhere. It's up to you to make the best use of it. Yeah.
Thank you. And faculty are very approachable. Don't think that the faculty are only there to teach you. Like if you want to have a genuine research interest and feel that our faculty are doing research, reach out to them, connect, have coffee, and you'll take it from there. Okay, we are on time. It's noon, so I don't want to keep our panelists any longer. I am so grateful to the three of you for sharing this time with me and reconnecting. I really, we have a great class here, but I miss you guys. So it's great to see you again and see how well you're doing and how I appreciate that you're giving back to us with your time and your knowledge and your experiences. So thank you so much. And also to the people watching us, the webinar will be recorded. So you will be able to access it later in our website and on YouTube. So it'll be there. Thank you, everybody. I know busy schedules. If you're currently in your MBA, you're very busy already. And if you're considering the MBA, or you're probably working. So I don't take this time for granted. So thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.